Yes, I. Greetings again, in the mighty name of His Imperial Majesty Emperor Haile Selassie the first. You see, yeah, today we are continuing with the Yardies in a Britain series. So may I say, we are trying to shed some light on what a lot of people perceive somehow to be a tolerable multicultural society. I show you the struggles that black people go through same way, even though them don't really have so much of a voice or platform for you know what I say. And maybe it's just a mannerism because again the society create this sort of mannerism whereby you mustn't complain, there's nothing that the state or anybody within authority does that you should complain about because they are embarrassing the institution and the institution is a part of the state and it reflects the state and things like that. So there is this attitude to be diplomatic about everything regardless. You see it. Even when diplomacy now work for you, because we know diplomacy now work for black people. See? But however, black people adapt that principle as well, implied to for them mannerism probably as a way to be accepted and be a part of the society. I've even met people who said they won't. I wouldn't take part in any protests and things like that, regardless of the purpose of the protest, because in the end, all it's gonna do is give the authorities the ammunition that they need to gentrify, remove them from the community, uproot them and punish them somewhat. See, because Britain have a thing where them call ASBO, whereby them say if your behavior is not in accordance with certain, to a certain degree, them can move you out of the community and put you in another community. As if your attitude now go affect them community there, unsuspecting people the way now have nothing, I never do anything to you or whatever. You don't see, but they move you to another community because I'm to the community where in a see. So a lot of people worried and is threatened by that. And a lot of way because they don't want to move from them local people and things for them know and use something like that, see, because you don't know the stress. You see, so that is a big deterrent for a lot of people, especially black people, from even trying to voice a certain protest a certain way. See? So, like me always say, based on a lack of this knowledge in regards to how the British black man or the British black part of the society, survive or get by day. Jamaican come here and make the critical, mistake of diminishing the British man's ability, intelligence, and things like that, thinking he's just docile and coward to do certain things to make a living, even when society is not forthcoming in providing him with a resource to do so legitimately. You understand what I say? So the Jamaican man said that as them not taking the opportunity that's out there for them. I mean, police are walk with gun type of attitude. You get what I say? So it was a very critical mistake for the Jamaicans, as I always say. Anyway, we're going to read about another Jamaican lady who there now, she's dead now. Condolences to the family of Miss Cherry Groce. See, she was one of the main reasons for the Brixton riot of 1987. See, Cherry Groce now was a grown woman. See, let me read from the BBC's argument. He had fallen asleep in his mother's room and was awoken by a loud noise. She went to investigate, but moments later, he heard a gunshot. His mother, Dorothy Cherry Groce, had been mistakenly shot by a police officer in an incident which left her paralyzed and sparked the Brixton riots of 1985. Now 45, Lee remembers his mother crying out that she could not breathe, words which now resonate with those uttered by the Black American George Floyd as a police officer knelt on his neck in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Like Floyd's death, which saw people take to the streets around the world, Cherry's shooting led to unrest. But once the riots or uprisings, as Lee calls it, died down, he was left with the huge responsibility of being a young carer for his mother, who was now in a wheelchair. It changed my life and robbed me of my childhood, he said. Just 2 weeks later, I was back at school. We had no therapy for what happened, and no one spoke to us about it. So when I went to school, no teacher even spoke to me about it. No one ever said, "How do you feel about what happened?" Officers from Metropolitan Police had been searching for his older brother, Michael Groce, who was suspected of being involved in a robbery. He was never charged over the robbery, but was given a suspended sentence for a firearm offense. Cherry Groce, then 37, was shot in the shoulder, leaving her paralyzed from her chest down. She died of kidney failure in 2011 at age 63, and in 2014, a jury inquest found that police failure contributed to her death. Then Metropolitan Police Commissioner Sir Bernard Hogan Howe apologized unreservedly for their failings and the years of suffering the shooting caused the family. While as an 11-year-old, he did not understand it, Lee said he now saw that racism was at the core of the incident. I never really understood why until 26 years later. Until after my mom had passed and there was an inquest into her death which allowed us to reinvestigate what happened. For me, I feel knowing now what I know through the evidence that we managed to have access to, that racism was at the core of what happened. And because of how the police viewed black people, especially at the time, all the normal checks that they would do or should have done went out of the window. Like me always say, it's the same level of care we're going to investigating black crime and the same treatment towards black people. It's little or non-existence, given the fact that there is no consequence, or the perception that there is no consequence for these failings. See, figures suggest a disproportionate number of people who died in custody in the UK are black, while reports have found Met police officers are more likely to use force against black people. Watching the protests around the world, George Floyd's final words were all too familiar for Lee. Lee, who lives in London. No, I remember hearing my mom saying in a faint voice that she can't breathe, she can't feel her legs, and she thought she was going to die. Lee, who lives in London, says he doesn't believe policing has improved. I'm 45 years old, and still, if I'm driving and see the police in my rear view mirror, I'm thinking, okay, am I going to get stopped? I think that. I still feel we have a long way to go, he said. Lee, who is chief executive of Mobility Taxis, and his son Brandon, 24, has been stopped and harassed by police in Hertfordshire over a query about insurance. Brandon called his dad to ask him to explain to the officer that he was covered, but Lee said even after he had, they did not seem satisfied. I was getting quite upset, to the point where my son was saying to me, "Dad, calm down. But I was upset more because I thought, okay, this happened to my mom. I have been through certain things with the police and had my own experiences. And now I've got my son. That's 3 generations of harassment. So it was really hurtful. The Hertfordshire police couldn't comment specifically on the alleged incident, but urged Lee to get in touch with them, saying they have a panel with members of the public on who can scrutinize their stop and search scheme. Since the death of his mother in 2011, Lee set up the Cherry Groce Foundation to focus on restorative justice, the process his family received during his mother's inquest. To this day, she is my main inspiration, he said. She was a true example of a strong black woman. She was the matriarch. She gave whatever little she had to whoever she could. His brother, Michael, who was not at the house at the night of the shooting, has since changed his ways, turning to community work and poetry. Lee is also writing a book and opening a memorial in September to mark 35 years since the shooting. The injustices suffered by the black British community is something he thinks should be taught in school. For the many times in my life, there is now a sense of awareness around these issues, he said. There are people now asking, how can we learn about this? See. So people asking, how can we learn about this, meaning majority white British people are beginning to believe the argument. You understand what I say? And are looking into things, doing their own investigations, and are putting pressure on police and institutions somewhat, to because that old trick where society use all along to dehumanize and stereotype a certain community in the eyes of other communities so as to abuse or do whatever they want, especially people, certain sick, twisted people within the institutions that be, you understand me, use these tactics to get away with grave crimes against humanity, grave crime against a people, particular, human rights abuse. You got these nasty characters living all over the world, anywhere in the world you go. Like, for instance, a police officer who shoot Cherry Groce. You understand me? You run inside somebody's house, a lady look and saw you, and then make eye contact, whatever, and she turn her back, run off, or if she was running off, you saw that the person was running away from you. In Britain, it's something that way you can't get away with any crime. So if the person, somebody come to attack you in your premises, yeah, and see that you're there, and I run out back, and you fling a big stone and lick the man in the back of his head, or in his back, you get charged for assault. Because the fact of the matter is, by the British law, him realize say that he might run from you, and you are attacking now. You understand what I say? So, and that are from day one. So now the police shoot this lady in her back, cripple her, and walk free for years, 31 years. It take before them accept full liability, full responsibility. In the early days, they would say it's an accident and things like that, because it's obvious. And the lady will go there for her son. And it's obvious again, so go there with murderous intent. If that was her son, obviously would have never have him there in a court. Police have the authority to be judge and jury and executioner in a no way, shape or form. Yet still them go there to apply that level, being educated, being liberal as they were meant to be, or purported to be. It's obvious that them go there with that intent in my eyes, in my opinion. You get what I say? Given the nature, given the atmosphere in regards to race at that time, given the knowledge that we now have of how the police apply themselves back then in regards to black people, we cannot remove ourselves from the fact that yes, them boy went there to murder somebody that day. Let's say of the son, Michael, who used to, them say was a troublemaker and thing like that and go around and whatever. Right, they got them claim saying pull gun upon them. I think that was the argument. Seeing we over in another, basically another state. See? So them claim say him do that and them come for him now and I'm yard and I'm mad at them shoot him mother in her back and kill her. See? Now what this fearful mention is that this same little brother you know who's talking, lead up on the bed beside her mother when she get up and go check out the police them and when she come back in, like you said earlier part of the reading, see mother get shot but Leah scream when you see mother drop on the ground and a ball out. See the same police we shooting mother point the gun upon him and say, hey, somebody shut up that little picnic. You don't see it. You don't see it. And a picnic once and neither. You don't see it. Cause him have hate in him. Him going there with hate and vengeance. Me don't know who him going there. Me don't know what. You understand me? He's an inspector of police as well. See? And the man continue him job for years unimpeded. In that capacity as well, as an inspector of police, you know, see, probably get promoted as well. You know, see it. And even at the time when the youth them I try establish that something went wrong because it was a big cover-up with the London police, the Metropolitan Police, I make it look like say nothing wrong, I just a normal process, I just a procedures. You know, see it. So when the youth them I try do some other query and investigation and things like that now, the government refused to give them legal aid. Legal aid where people entitled to, British people entitled to. See? Why? Because they facilitate the actions of these guys here and I want to give them, and I want them face the consequences they're supposed to face for going to the woman's house and injure her like that. See? This is the care and the carelessness where them used to treat black people with. No, this is one incident. You know, see, and it's, I wouldn't say it's isolated either. I can't say that because when we look and see the attitude of British people in Britain, it's not normal. I'm going to say that with no measure of disrespect whatsoever. You understand what I say? From my observation, these people were so oppressed, deeply oppressed to the point whereby it's like them just suppress the oppression and the burden of the oppression. They must take it more and more. And trust me, this system lay it on with a smile. Enjoy laying it on, putting the burden on more and more because, I mean, I don't know why. You get what I say? No. I mean, where them youth, you know, your mother, and all right, them give the lady, as compensation, they gave her £500,000. £500,000, I think, back then, yeah? Because, and them give her that now, because the doctor say she now gonna live for more than 5 more years, yeah? Them estimate say it's gonna cost £500,000 to take care of her for the 5 years till she dead. See? So that them grant her. See? Nothing on top for no other damage or loss or nothing, just £500,000 to take care of yourself for the 5 years where your life have left. See? However, I think she lived to 21 more years. You know, see, 26 more years. See? She get shot in 85 and she died 2011. See? And them still never want to recognize the fact that the lady lived way over the time span with them allotted, you know. Fair for live. See? And that the £500,000 couldn't go in a court them after carry them go time after time. And the only reason why them treat them like that, in my opinion, is because them black. You know, see it? You know, see it? It's evidence, it's obvious. But because there is no consequence to committing them sort of atrocities against black people. And also, who is gonna, you know, challenge the verdict. You know, see it? Which institution, which organization It's gonna challenge and embarrass us, insult us, and point out our falsity, our hypocrisy. Who's gonna do it anyway for the black community? So we can just do what we are doing and get on with it. You know, see it? No effort whatsoever. You know, see it? You know, see, this is something where obviously, you know, no focus on the health and of the children. You understand what I'm saying? In regards to the fallout where the trauma might cause. For them grow up as a big man, you know, see it, as adults. In a society where them know that the same society hurt their mother and deny them of the justice where them so desire and need and should get justly due. You get what I say? How you think them black youth are going to feel now grow up in another society? Where you think them teach them children? Where you think them teach them neighbor? Where you think them teach other black children? Say, the society now want you, the society. So them black children are not willing to come contribute or have no great intent, because at the end of the day, if from we're born, all we can see is the humanization, our characteristics. You know, see, and a rebuttal of our contributions and efforts and things like that. Where you think the youth them are pre? The stabbing them in London where go on these days, yeah. You think that just breed itself off and not you think I just violent you, them violent. Nobody want to take responsibility for them role where them play in making the youth, the society at a large play for making the youth them that way there. You know, see it. So when a guy look at all me, you know, and ask me where the Prime Minister of Jamaica for do for the youth them or for the people them and things like that. It's what they haven't done. They know what they haven't done and they know. Me soon tell you if I don't want to hear, but at the end of the day, them guys that know what they haven't done. There is no social program whatsoever. You know how cheap that can be. Social programs are mostly inventive skills where people use them little ingenious to come up with where they can communicate and relate with the youth them where are dealing. See, it takes little or less resource than any other farmer developmental benefits for the youth them. You know, see, because you already got the players them, the motivator them already existing in the community. We're willing to do it sometimes to a charity. You know, see, we're going to play some netball with them for teach them a trade or whatever. What it costs for some, a joke thing that. I'm just like me say, go ask, lobby the rest of the world, why is it twice time giving Jamaica survive off of tourism? What make our Prime Minister pick up on the fact say at 2 times the rate for come at Jamaica from Europe than it is to go to Australia and lobby them thing them against the airline industry. I make them know say you feel like that is a blatant sabotage, international espionage against your tourism industry. You know how much people think about coming to Jamaica like Jamaica is a exclusive, delicate island paradise. The life and the quality of life of the people, I mean, enough people mind. It's unperceivable. Them can't literally imagine say, really, you understand what I say? Because for come to Jamaica, them have to put out. You understand what I say? And then it's not just Jamaica make it so. And them look when it says because it's an exclusive thing why it's because it's talked about and it's a popular destination. However, somewhat it's a popular that has been spoken of. You know, see, somewhere everybody want to go almost upon everybody's bucket list. You know, see. So when it comes to the fact of the matter, say the plane price are expensive, people might look and they say, oh, it's the Burberry of holiday locations. You get what I say? Which it is in a lot of cases, but I don't think that could have be a national thing where you make the plane price, the plane fare so expensive, given the fact that quick sale and small profit work. More people on the island, more tourists are coming in and more foreign currency. You understand what I say? Yeah. So we don't have them resources and the UK youth them not have them resources for establish or advertise problems and issue certain way. You know, see it. And the guys them where come up with the ingenious ways them and the plan of action them where assist them out of them not there because you can't, a man can always down there look on it and say, oh, them can easily go learn a trade. You know, see, this is the society, social standard and social demand is different. You get what I say? You're not go on there and know so you can go sweep. Oh, we are going to sweep the street and make a money. But deep in yourself, you know, say, all of your peers them have access to university level education and PhD jobs and things like that. You know, see, at them thing there, a university is like going to you have a university degree in England is standard. Seeing if a little man not have the university degree, there's like, well, something must be wrong with you, must be dyslexic or something. You understand? Most people think you must be sick or you must have something else. I go and feel like a trade, a trick, a business secret, a plan, something where I go on where I develop your social standards and circles, just like how a PhD employed person would have develop and avail themselves. You know, see, yeah, it's possible. See, and yeah, them people are there. Like a man who open a brand name store, a man start him own design and them thing there, and you know, man, keep it to a degree socially and yeah. These things happen. You have only for youth when I go to university, but there are prospects and resource to supply and support these prospects whereby them you get when I say Jamaica and I have that, but in terms of education, must I show you say a standard thing that. See, yet still access for employ a lot of them talent and knowledge and things like that. And inspiration for go gather and access them knowledge, yeah. You know, see, in a dead. You understand what I say? Because first thing you go up on the street and you expect the authorities them and the people them in the institution them are supposed to reinforce your self-confidence, your need to be wanted. Them not reinforcing need to be wanted, but fulfill that gap. That need to feel relevant, that need to be wanted. You know, see, that not there again, the motivational part of the aspect then are there for them youth, yeah. You know, see, given the facts well, then them come from a slave history. You know, see. Yeah, man. See? So, in loving memory of the great lady, Miss Cherry Groce, you don't know. See? We said, shout out another tribute. See? Another history of the black people in Britain. And Miss Cherry Groce was a Jamaican, as a matter of fact. You understand what I say? So it's just another history of the struggle. You know, see it. So enough respect and my heart goes out to our children them. Because I know till this day, I'm still suffer post-traumatically. You see what I say? You don't know. More bless. Share, like, and subscribe. Rastafari.